Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Namaste experience. It's so good to see some of you who haven't been here in a while, and everyone else so vibrant, so awake, so ready. Do you feel that? Yes. Vibrant, awake, and ready. That's what we are called to. Because when we are vibrant, awake, and we are ready, everything happens on its own. We don't need to worry or force. We just allow grace to take hold. Vibrant, ready, and awake. That is where we always begin. And speaking of being aware, this morning, we're going to share a little bit more of that very interesting man that we heard from a few days ago, and that's Anthony Demelo. It's actually DeMaio, but since everybody else says Demelo, we'll just stick with Demelo. This very interesting Indian Catholic priest, Jesuit, who is so fascinating in the way he looks at everything. And I want to begin by sharing another one of his little parables. So this comes from Anthony Demelo. Even though it was the master's day of silence, a traveler begged for a word of wisdom that would guide him through life's journey. The master nodded affably, took a sheet of paper, and wrote a single word on it: awareness. The visitor was perplexed, took the sheet of paper, the visitor was perplexed. That's too brief, he said. Would you please expand on it a bit? So the master took the paper back and wrote, awareness, 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 awareness. But what do these words mean? Said the stranger helplessly. The master reached out for the paper and wrote, awareness, awareness, awareness means awareness. Isn't it funny how we always try so desperately to understand with the intellectual mind that which can never fully be understood? How do you understand awareness with the intellectual mind? We can say things like, well, to be aware of what's happening, to be aware of the people who are around us, but it's much deeper than that. True awareness, isn't it? To be aware of reality, to be aware of the truth that is forever true, to be aware of love that's moving through us every moment. I think these are the things that he's talking about. And it's really what we talk about here every day. So I love this parable because it just comes down to that simple word: be aware. Every moment, just open up. We tend to look at the world through this very limited viewpoint, like a horse with blinders. We see what we want to see based upon who we think we are. And all we are called to do, every spiritual experience that we have, is meant to widen that frame until there's no frame at all, until we're completely aware of everything in every moment. Now, that's certainly not something that could be understood by the intellect. To be aware of everything in every moment. Once again, the ego interprets that as everything. How can you become aware of everything? And of course, that's not what it means at all. Because if I'm fully aware of my relationship with Ravi right now, I can access everything through him, through my love, through my devotion to the Christ within Ravi. In other words, looking deeper than what the eyes can see, to what only the soul can feel. This is what true awareness is. And that's obviously what the master in this story is talking about. So I wanted to share something else that I just came across this morning. And this is Anthony Demelo, going a little bit deeper into this. What is awareness? And I'm just going to share a few of these and see which ones hit. For example, he says, wake up and become aware. Wake up and become aware. Be aware of what you're saying. Be aware of what you're doing. Be aware of what you're thinking. Be aware of how you're acting. Be aware of where you're coming from and what your motives are. The unaware life is not worth living. But isn't that what we've been living? The unaware life? We're caught up and we're aware only of what's going on here instead of everywhere. The unaware life is not worth living. The unaware life is a mechanical life. It's not human. It's programmed. It's conditioned. So we're being called to break the programming. The ego's programming that says, it's all about me. It's all about me. That's all those blinders are, is so I can relate only to things as they relate to me, instead of relating to everything in every moment as whole and as holy. So that's one. Let me read another one here. I like this. Anthony Demelo says, become like a child. How sad if we pass through life and never see with the eyes of a child, with the eyes of innocence. All we need to do to really understand how to live a spiritual, awake, aware life is to watch a young child. Why? Because that child has yet to limit that frame to this. A child comes into the world frameless, wide open. Everything they see in every angle is who they are. They haven't identified the egoic self yet, the limited self, me. It comes because that is the road that we have to walk here. We have to go from this unlimited perspective to a limited perspective, just so we can come back to the unlimited. And we can watch the life of a child and how they relate to everything, and they identify it as who they are. And that's what we're called to do, to be like a child. Okay, let's read another one. Oh, this is good. Be like an animal. That's a little bit different. Demelo says, if you really, really enjoy life and the simple pleasures of the senses, you'd be amazed. You develop that extraordinary discipline of the animal. An animal will never overeat. Left in its natural habitat, it will never be overweight. It will never drink or eat anything that's not good for its health. You'll never find an animal smoking. It always exercises and relaxes as much as it needs. But we've lost that. We're lost in our minds and our ideas and ideals and so on, and it's always go, go, go. And we've got an inner self-conflict, which animals don't have, an inner self-conflict. How many animals have you met that have an inner self-conflict? That's pretty much just for us. And we're always condemning ourselves and making ourselves feel guilty. It is funny though, when a dog does something wrong and you say, hey, it knows it did something it wasn't supposed to do, but then it lets it go. That's one of the wonderful things that dogs can teach us. They love so quickly, they let go so easily. But I love what he's expressing, that animals left to their natural environment are going to be in balance. They're not going to overeat. They're not going to do things that are bad. And yet us, because of this limited egoic perspective, the narrowing of our point of view, instead of seeing everything, seeing only a few things, we lose that. Because once again, it's all about me. And I should be able to do what I want to do. If I want to smoke, I should be able to smoke. Maybe. All I know is that we are called to so much. We are called into such an expansive point of view that sees only what is true. An expansive point of view that sees only what is true. Somebody write that down. All right, let's maybe read one or two more. Well, this is interesting because we talk a lot here from, say, the perspective of a source like A Course in Miracles, that death is not real. And so we know that the truth within us can't die. The truth within us, our soul is eternal. This is who we really are. But we do have to come to terms with the body, with when we lay down the body. And our usual problem is that we identify so much with the body that we think that when we grow old and it's time to lay the body down, that it's me who's dying. And so Anthony Demelo says, learn to die in order to live. You know, I've been watching a wonderful program on Netflix the last few nights. I think it's called, I don't remember what it's called, but it's a documentary, I think a 4-part documentary. What's it called?
It's Michael Pollan.
Yeah, Michael Pollan. What's
Change Your Mind?
How to Change Your Mind. How many of you have been watching it? It's fascinating.
Yeah.
He's looking scientifically and medically at things like LSD and psilocybin, and last night was all about ecstasy and how beautifully they're being used in psychological studies and to help with PTSD, and it's amazing. It's amazing stuff, and I'm sure there was a reason. Oh yeah, I remember why I brought that up. Because last night they were showing these really important psychological studies that they're doing with ecstasy. And one of the, especially with people, and also with psilocybin, the same thing, with people who are with cancer, they're beginning their journey home and they're very afraid to die. And of course, once they go through this process and work with these plant medicines and other things, they completely lose the fear of death. They completely lose the fear to die. So this is what Anthony Demelo says. I've often said to people that the way to really live is to die. The passport to living is to imagine yourself in the grave. That's interesting. Or imagine, just be present with the fact that at some point I'm going to lay this body down. Be okay with that. It's just what happens to everybody, but it doesn't change anything that's real. The only reason we fear it is because we believe it changes something. It can't change who you really are. I am as God created me. And if I remain as God created me, fear has no meaning. Evil is not real. Misery, pain, and death are not. What? Do not exist. Thank God I have you all around. Help me with my quotes. So just relax, in other words. Be fully present to this moment. And when that moment comes, you'll release into that infinite void effortlessly. All right, what else does he have to say about awareness? Oh, this is good. We talk about this a lot, especially those of us who are students of the course. Reprogram your mind. Anthony says, that's what learning is all about, where spirituality is concerned. Unlearning almost everything you've been taught. A willingness to unlearn and to listen deeply, to let go, to come with what? Holy empty hands. Come with holy empty hands. Don't come with hands filled with all the things you think you know, because the truth is, when you really examine it, you really know very little. That's why this beautiful title of the new book that Vicky and Barack and I are working on, I think is going to be so wonderful. I don't know. Maybe. I love you. Wow, that just does it, doesn't it? Just imagine yourself in a situation where someone disagrees with you and they're trying to convince you of something and whatever it may be, and you just look at them and say, I don't know, maybe. I love you. Vanishes. Like my little brother says, I hate when you do that. How can I argue with you when you do that? You can't. And that's the whole point. How about one more? Let's see here. Oh, well, this is pretty clear, but let's hear what he has to say about this. Stop identifying with the ego. Stop identifying with the limited self. Stop identifying with that little perspective in time and space that wants everything instead of, well, no, it wants everything instead of everything, instead of wholeness, instead of reality itself. You see, this is what awareness is really all about, to be aware of everything at once. It's like diving into that infinite ocean and dissolving. You've heard me speak before about that salt man, the little man made of salt who rests there at the side of the ocean and the waves gently lap against it. And every time the waves lap against the salt man, he dissolves and he dissolves and he dissolves until he is one with the ocean. That's what we are called to dissolve, to let go of everything that we think and just relax and love one another. You know, we talk here at Namaste about, well, are we this or are we that or are we something else? Who cares? We're here to love one another and to dissolve. If you do that through A Course in Miracles, if you do that through unity, if you do that through Buddhism, it doesn't matter. Just dissolve. Just love one another. And when you live in community, as you know, that can be challenging sometimes. We bump up against each other. We rub each other, sometimes in the wrong way. And that's okay, because all that does is it shows us where we're attached. Just love one another. That's it. And dissolve. So we'll stop there, and I'm going to turn to our dear sister, Vicky. I know you love Anthony Demelo as much as I do, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about awareness.
Thank you, Brother James. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone. And yes, I love Tony Demelo for years. I think I probably saw him before the course, and what I loved is his simplicity in speaking to everyone. Not just those that are mystically inclined. In fact, speaking to the Jesuits who are not so mystically inclined, more academically inclined. He was the perfect teacher because he taught in simple languages, die daily to the idea of getting and thinking that we are these bodies, and live to love. Live to love. How simple is that, right? We're here to live to love. So there's a great line in the Course, you know, how many opportunities to gladden ourselves that we miss, that they're all around us. I had to bring this up. I am loving awareness that you started with. And after all the years that Ram Dass was teaching and experimenting with lots of plant medicines and more, that the only thing he came to, like St. Augustine, is no matter what I said before, this is it. Loving awareness. And what is awareness? Awareness except love. Because when we become perfectly aware, or at least look to be aware, we get very honest with ourselves, very honest about where we're perhaps not loving, but very honest in finding that when we tune in to this present moment, the pulse of love is everywhere. It's everywhere. And when we sit out the discomfort, whether we sit it out in silence or in allowing ourselves a good cry or feel whatever the feelings are temporary. Love is eternal. It's like joy is eternal. It's not that love and the superficial experiences of happiness that the ego thinks and talks about and strives for to try and get. Love and joy are the eternal aspects that are present when we sit through whatever appearances are and allow that state to come into our awareness. It's the experience of being here each day with one another. It's only traditionally in formal communities, usually religious communities of one order or another, one tradition or another, where brothers and sisters say come together for morning prayer, for morning centering. We get that, however this story of unfolding and of awakening is happening, we get that experience every day. And I know for me, what shifts me and why I come early, if I can, to our meeting, is that the face of my brothers and sisters shifts me immediately. If I'm a little bit off or staccato or nervous or upset about anything, I come to this room and I look and I see the faces of love. I see the faces of willingness, willingness to love, willingness to awaken. That's a place to gladden myself right away. And it shifts me immediately into that, oh, I remember that I am presently in the love and joy of God, no matter what's occurring. That's where I am. And I see that as an opportunity when I look, and I put this on gallery so that I can see everybody. And I see everyone, and hi everyone, and I can't see our family at the village where you are in Ahihik, but I feel their presence. But my Zoom family, I see willingness and love all around. I don't want to miss the opportunity to gladden myself and to be aware of the holy presence that we share. It may be just in our intention. And some of us, I come off a lot of days. So what? I come into this room of light, of willingness and present love, and everything else. That's how the ego dies daily. It just seems to fade out. And the centering of presence fills in, and presence, awareness, is nothing but love. Not love that comes and goes, that deeper state. That's why all of us, we can afford to be ourselves. Where whatever level or experience we're having, we come and bring ourselves honestly to where we are and let the stuff that isn't love fall away. Like the salt, the water dissolving the salt. When we come to the present moment, and especially the power of brothers joined in one purpose, that is the holiest spot on earth. Because joining in purpose of love is what heaven on earth is. It is what awakening is. And don't pay attention to the little thinking thoughts that we might come up with that make it less than. They're nothing. They're not true. The experience of peace and of we are connected by our purpose of love and awakening to love's presence. That's enough. That will fill in for whatever the rest of the day brings us to. And that has been my experience. I don't want to miss it, and I start with it every day. The opportunity to gladden myself in the willingness to recognize that joining is the answer to separation. And it brings with it my realization of present love that we share and that we recognize in one another, and then we recognize it everywhere. So we can live freely like our dogs and our cats. We don't have to worry about what to say or what to do. It comes with the territory of being aware, being present. So thank you, Brother James. Thank you, everybody, for your love. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, as always, thank you. Dear Vicky, it's always so wonderful to have you and your perspective. I'm just your opening act. That's all I do. I open for Vicky, and I love it. So being aware, it happens ultimately really on one level, but it goes out like a prism, casting out many different beams of light. It goes out in many directions to whoever's right in front of us, and to also the people around us, who are most in need, to be aware of them and to be aware of our responsibility to love them and to be a blessing to those people so that they can in turn become aware. It's difficult to be fully aware if you're always in a state of need and not having enough. But if we can be aware of our brothers and our sisters who are in need and support and love and be a blessing to them, it affects and lifts us all. So there was an announcement that I was going to make once we finish, when we do our normal announcements, but I think I'll do it now because I want to bring the rest of you guys, the Zoom crowd, into this as well. And that is my dear sister Jolie, who really is like my sister. We share a daughter and a granddaughter. She is the spiritual mother to my daughter and grandmother to my granddaughter. And Jolie is going to talk to us quickly about something that we can become aware of as a community. And after she speaks, I'll tell all of you guys how you can be part of it if you want. So Jolie, why don't you come and sit here?
Okay.
And you can share with us
Yeah.
how we can become aware.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
So I am really blessed today to share with you what's happening in our community of Ahihik. I work with Total Body Care, and they just recently won a huge award, a remodel renovation. And like the TV shows that we used to watch, like Extreme Makeovers, that is what this is in 1 week's time. So they are looking for volunteers. We also invite everyone to come and celebrate tomorrow for the open house. Please let it happen at 5 p.m. Saturday. The other thing I wanted to share with you is they are offering a raffle, 2 different raffles. Half of the proceeds are to pay for this renovation remodel. And remember, they just were voted. So this happened no time. It happens within a week, you win this award. But half of the proceeds go to this orphanage of young girls, young women who have been abused. And this is in our outside of Ahihik in the Chapala area. It's a Christian ministry. And what they're doing is they're taking on these young women who have had so much trauma and giving them a whole education, healing them emotionally, physically, and also giving them the tools to be successful in life. So half of these raffle ticket proceeds go to this beautiful organization. This is just starting up. This school opens in September. They are just getting revved up. And I got to meet some of the young women. You can just see in their eyes the gratitude to be able to, they were volunteering, right? So they were volunteering to help at Total Body Care with this massive renovation. But they also felt this deep call to share their stories. And the young teachers that have come to supply them in ministry, it's a calling to work with these young women and really offer support. So Total Body Care is doing 2 different raffles. One is the white ticket, which is 100 pesos, and it offers you an opportunity to win one of 5 services. And half of that goes to this organization, this orphanage, this education. It's called Treasure House. The other raffle is 500 pesos, and that is for a day of beauty. So I can tell you right now, your odds are very good, as there has not been very many raffle tickets sold because this just happened. They just won this award less than a week ago. So it has been all hands on deck, trying to create meaning and create exchange and also serve the community that voted them to win this award, and also extending that to this beautiful cause of Treasure House. So I will have more information. I'm speaking on August 7th at Open Circle, and we're going to have some of the volunteers there specifically for Treasure House and the education program. So maybe some of you feel a stirring in your heart to be connected to, how can I serve? How can I serve these women? How can I serve these young girls? And the the Christed energy of wholeness that I kept hearing, that is the goal. Reminding them that they are here on purpose and they are whole. That takes all of us, because we cannot see it in someone else unless we see it in ourselves. So again, invitation, 5 o'clock tomorrow. If you are able and you feel a call, please join us for the open house. Raffle tickets will be pulled at 6 p.m. So we'll have all the winners. Like I said, the odds are in your favor. I brought tickets if you are interested. Also, if you are interested in learning more how you can directly support the mission of Treasure House and the extension of the education that they are offering these young girls, and the demand is huge, as you can imagine. So I bless you and I thank you. Thank you for letting me share, and have a beautiful Friday. You are loving awareness, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank
so
you
welcome.
so much. So for those of you here who don't know where Total Body Care is, it's on Juarez. It's right over here, down about, is it Ocampo? Is that?
Yes.
So Ocampo and Juarez, if you want to go there. And the open house is tomorrow?
Saturday at 5 p.m.
5 p.m. And if you want to get tickets, you can get them from Jolie now. And I thought I would mention to all of you, you know, here at our Namaste sessions, we're never pushing for donations. Once a year, we do a little bit of a drive to try and improve some of our buildings. But this is something that we just offer out of love and devotion. But it's also nice for you all in the Zoom or the YouTube audience to feel like you're part of this. And this would be a great example to support how we support our community. And I can't think of a better way to do that than to support an orphanage of young women who are just coming alive because of love and because of the nurturing that they're receiving. So if any of you watching this on Zoom are interested in donating, 100% of that will go to the orphanage. And so you can just go to PayPal if you want. Just go to my personal PayPal. The address is jimmytwyman@gmail.com. jimmytwyman@gmail.com. Just go to PayPal and make a donation and just put orphanage in the notes, so I'll be able to tell the difference. And we will give 100% of that to support this beautiful program that Jolie talked about. Yes.
And I have a short video with the teacher that I will send to you that you can share.
Okay, she has a short video that she can send that we can share. So yes, if you feel drawn to that and want to be part of this community by supporting this orphanage, just go ahead and send whatever donation you'd like through PayPal. And it'll be just a wonderful way to join with us, your family here in Mexico. All right, let's take a deep breath together. Become aware of the call, aware of the all. There's no need to know how, just to know now, now, now. This is it. No more waiting, no more hoping, just expanding and dissolving, back and forth, expanding, dissolving into that infinite ocean of love that we are one with now. And so it is. Why don't we go ahead and we'll close with a prayer of protection. Let me go ahead and pull that up. We do that periodically these days, not as much as we used to, but it's nice to use it once in a while. Should come up any second. Come on. There it is. Full screen. Okay, here we go. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. Feel that. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. Drink that in. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. Really feel it. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever God is, I am, and all is well. And so it is. Amen, amen, amen. Y punto. We love you. Thank you, Jolie. Thanks to everyone.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
My telephone lines are still involved after